Hey, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? Y'all, I was just on Good Day Sacramento and people were shook. Even the TV hosts were up in arms because what I did on live television is I ripped up this $100 bill. Now I want to tell y'all why I ripped this up, specifically when it comes to our mindset when we're talking about our money, our dollars, and our financial wealth and our health. So take it back just a little bit. I was just in Sacramento doing this interview and I had to go through a lot of training, prepping, right? Because when you're on live television, it's different than sitting behind just one-on-one with a camera and a mic. You are on live TV with a whole bunch of people in the studio, all these lights on you and people giving directions. You also got these two hosts that are sitting next to you as well. You're hanging out in the green room, prepping and waiting to go on. So it was a lot. And you have to learn how to become natural on television in the most unnatural state whatsoever. And then also having your authenticity and your energy come through the screen. I don't remember what they said. Okay, I'm not a huge TV guru or media production person and run a production company, but I heard a saying that 20% of your energy gets excluded or cut off because it's coming through the television or the camera. So you got to be even more elaborated and more animated than what you are just in person. So it was an interesting concept to get a hold of. And one thing I noticed as well, so this is why I'm in my outfit today, because my mentor told me that you need to stand out. Don't stick to the blacks, the whites, the browns, the neutral colors. You want to stand out and be bold on television. And I would even say in any networking event that y'all go to, really be the person that stands out. Wear the bright colors because people will start to approach you when you have the more fun, bold colors on. And honestly, some of your personality will show through what you wear too. So I was on the Good Day Sacramento, and actually, matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going down to Altoona, Pennsylvania to be on the CBS station down there too. So I'll update you how that experience goes. But I went through an acronym of money. And I want to share my acronym with y'all and really dive deep into the psychology of our money. So here it is. M, mindset. It all begins with how you think. Are you coming from a place of a poverty mindset, or are you acting and behaving out of abundance? Because how you think about your money is going to greatly impact how much money you have. O, options. See, when you start to master the mindset around your money, the options and the different opportunities are going to start to show up within your life. Different options of what you can do with the money and different opportunities of how to go and put the money to work for you. In now. The time to change is now. And if y'all listening to me are still living that financial hamster wheel, paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, because y'all, payroll.org study shows that 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And that's a 6% increase from the previous year. So I say if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck in 2025, you got to start right now. The time is now. E, exchange. See, this goes back to the basic fundamentals about money, that money is nothing more than a means of exchange. So for instance, when people go out, they go to work, at the end of the week, they get paid with this. And people think that this is money, but it's not. It's currency. And what we need to do is we need to exchange this currency for something of value, like investment, just to put a big generalized category on it. So I went in and I wanted just to provide that almost shock value because people will remember me. People will remember looking at the TV screen and seeing a girl up there rip a $100 bill in half. And if you go and watch my segment on Good Day Sacramento, you will see how shook they really were. And there were girls like my age. I want to say they were between the ages of 27 and 30. So what I'm saying is that, yes, money is just a tool. It's just a resource. And what we need to do is we need to use this tool to go and exchange it for something of value. Because here's the thing, and y'all know this, if you've been following me for a long, long time, people will do things with their money that they would never do with things that money buys. So for my people who are sticking in a crap load of money into their 401k, their IRA, et cetera, and then fingers crossed, we're hoping and waiting that in the future, this money is going to be here. Yeah, that's what we've been conventionally taught. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Hannah, I do this because I thought I was doing something good for myself. My parents, my boss, my colleagues, they are all doing the same thing with their money. I should be doing that same thing with my money too. But think about it this way. Money is just a means of exchange. So if I were to take my money and go and purchase myself a house or a car and then wait until I'm 59 and a half, 10, 20, 30 plus years into the future to drive the car or move into the house, that would be stupid. It would be ridiculous. So why do we do things with money that we would never do with things that money buys? You need to understand and get that. Don't stay in a hoarding mentality when it comes to your money. Honestly, hoarding mentality when it comes to anything. But anyways, so when you're doing that, what I want y'all to do is really start taking the dollars and putting it to work for you. Now, let me just add a little comment here because some people will ask me this. Emergency fund dollars. I do agree that we need to have some money stacked away for the rainy days. Specifically, a lot of us saw that during the COVID times when people were getting laid off or we weren't going into the office and there were weeks or even months of time passing that no income was coming in. You do need to have a place that you are storing some dollars or rainy day funds set aside. What I like to do is I will hold 3 months of my overhead expenses inside of my policies, and I'll hold 3 months of my overhead expenses inside of my checking or savings accounts. Now, I say savings account. Hannah Kessler doesn't have a savings account, but some of y'all may do. So hold at least 3 months in your policies and 3 months in your checking or savings account. And that is money that you do not touch because God forbid if something were to happen, you have those monies that are sitting there that can come in and pay for 6 months of your expenses if you need it. If 6 months is too short of a time span for you, go out longer. Do 12 months of rainy day funds. You get to decide this because you are the one that's in control of your financial life. So exchanging the currency. All right, here's what I mean. What I do is I take my dollars and the first thing I always do is I run my money through my whole life policies first. My whole life policy that's designed specifically for high immediate cash value. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start incorporating the process of what's called the infinite banking concept or being my own banker by taking the money out from my policies. Now, I don't withdraw the money. I take out loans from my policy. And the reason I take out the loans instead of withdrawals is because I do not want to interrupt the compounding growth that's happening inside of that policy. So I want the uninterrupted compounding to forever and ever keep growing in there while I'm able to use the money in my real life too. So I sum it up and I say I'm double dipping on the money. When I take out that loan, what's logistically happening, okay, so for my analytical folks, what is logistically happening is I'm taking out a loan from the general funds of the insurance company. I'm putting my policy up for collateral or my death benefit, and I'm taking a loan from their general funds. So I'm using their money in the real world, which allows my money to still sit in my policy to grow and compound as if it was never even touched. And there's a powerful aspect behind that. It's the differences between my uninterrupted compounding growth that I receive in my policy, that's tax-free, by the way, versus the simple annual interest that the insurance company charges me to use their money. And that's a powerful thing that I should probably do more episodes on here in the future.
Hey Money Multipliers, pardon the interruption. If it's been a while or if you've never seen my presentation on the Money Multiplier method, what we also call the infinite banking concept, click this link right here, themoneymultiplier.com/presentation. It will take you to my 90-minute presentation on this powerful information that can drastically change your financial future. All right, let's get back to the episode.
So I'm using the insurance company's money in the real world, and those loans on my policies are not required to get paid back. So I want you to pay back the policy loans. You don't have to pay them back. And the reason we don't have to pay back those policy loans is because it's just a prepayment of the death benefit. You are guaranteed to graduate, is the word I like to use, or die. And so at that time of your passing, any outstanding loans will just get subtracted from your death benefit. Number example, let's say you have $1 million of death benefit on your policy, and right then at the time of your passing, you have $600,000 of outstanding loans. And you've been using that money to go and purchase yourselves investments and cash flowing assets. So at the time of your passing, the insurance company will take the $1 million of the death benefit, subtract the $600,000 that you've been using during your life, and the remaining $400,000 is going to get paid out tax-free to whoever you named as your beneficiary. It can be a person, it can be multiple people, it could be a trust. You get to decide who that beneficiary is on your policy. Some people, though, will come back and argue and say, well, Hannah, that's not very fair, because when I pass away or graduate, why would I not receive my cash value and the entire death benefit? Okay, I understand the thinking, but let's put it in this analogy. If you have a house that's worth $1 million and you have equity inside of that house of $600,000 and you take out all of the equity, or I should just say, maybe leave the equity there, but then you try to go and list your house. You want to sell it now. Are you going to list your house at $1 million, what the property value is worth? Or are you going to list your house at 1.6, the $1 million of the property and the $600,000 that you have in equity? Nah, you're going to go and list it at the $1 million, what the true value of it is worth. It's the same thing that happens in the policies. The death benefit is the value of the property. Your cash value in your policy is the equity inside of your house. It's the same thing. So use that analogy when you're talking with people or they start to challenge you on some of this stuff, because it makes sense when I put it that way, hopefully. So that's E. E is exchange, and we need to exchange our currency for something of value. I like to do a lot of lending. Okay. And reach out to me. I mean, if y'all want to talk about that stuff, how do I get into private lending? Where do I go find these borrowers at? How do I make sure I'm protecting myself? What's the collateral I'm taking? Is this even a good deal? Just making sure that all of your I's are dotted, T's are crossed. I will turn you on to my people that I do a lot of my lending with. There's also resources out there like the Private Money Club. If you go to privatemoneyclub.com, it's almost like a match.com between borrowers and lenders. I even got more personal relationships of who I do lending with and sometimes I'll do some funds or syndications and a whole bunch of different things. So that's my most favorite thing because I feel like you being the bank is the ultimate in any business. I was about to say in real estate, but I kind of thought to myself, it's not just real estate. I think it's within any business. Because reminder, here's what Nelson Nash teaches us. You want to be in 2 businesses in your lifetime. The first business is the one that you're passionate about. Supports the lifestyle, gets you up out of bed every day, pays the bill, supports the family. But then the second business is your banking business, the business that finances everything throughout your life. So without the banking business, all other businesses fail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my policies to take over the banking function in my life. And then through my policies, I can funnel it back towards my business. I can go and fund other businesses or other investments, buy gold and silver with it, do my stock and options trading with it. I can take it and go on vacation now with me and my spouse, go take that cruise for 3 months if I choose to, right? And that's the whole thing about this just being a currency and an exchange, because we need to stop letting our money dictate our time. I want you to take the time back in your life, and how you do that is by putting your little green men to work for you. So don't just hoard this money up somewhere in your checking or your savings accounts where you're earning pennies on the dollar, you're losing money due to inflation, and then these bankers are using your money. And if you really think your money's sitting there, or if you really think your money's backed up by the FDIC, you need to do a little bit more homework, and I encourage you to read the book, The Creature of Jekyll Island, all right? So it was just funny. I'm kind of excited tomorrow to see what these folks are going to say about it too. You can actually go see my full interview if you go to hannahkessler.com. Hannah spelled the same ways forwards and backwards, Kessler with 1 S. You can see my interview posted up on there on my website. But also, I would also even encourage y'all to go and read my book, The Single Millionaire Chick. You can find it on Amazon. And that's another reason I've been going around and doing a lot of these interviews, because I've been going out there and promoting my book. I think people really need to hear this valuable information, because let me tell you what Brent Kessler says. He says, Hannah, if people really knew the value and this asset that this concept is, they would be lined up out the door just waiting to get in. So I want y'all to expand your money psychology. And that's another book that you should read. Hold on, ADD moment. About 4 or 5 months ago, y'all, I believe I made an episode where I was going to come in and do a whole book review on the psychology of money. I want to say the author is Morgan Housel, if I'm remembering correctly. But I recorded the entire episode, and it was a lengthy, long episode. And then I got done with it. The audio nor the video got captured. And I was just so defeated. I was so pissed off. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to put this one on the back burner, and I'll go in here later and record it. So I do need to go back and re-record that episode. I'm just telling you, it was a really good episode, but it was just me and Jesus talking to each other, apparently. So anyways, E-exchange, last letter in our acronym of money, M-O-N-E-Y, M is mindset, O is options, N is now, E is exchange, Y is you. You have the power to make this change, and nobody is going to care more about your financial life than what you do. Stop letting it to your financial advisors. Stop leaving it to your brother-in-law, your parents. I mean, follow the advice of the people who are living that dream lifestyle that you want to live. I mean, hey, if you're the type of person that you want to go and get a van and travel all around the country with you and your kitty cat, hey, I'm your girl. That's what I do because I know how to trade my little green men to go and work for me. So then I don't have to spend the time working for it and I can dictate my own schedule. Do things that you enjoy with your life. What really makes me sad, y'all, is that people will get up every day, go to a place that they hate, see their coworkers and people that they may despise, and they get to the point where now they're 55 years old or 65 years old. They want to retire, not do this as long or work as many hours anymore. And they're miserable. I mean, just think about how your mental state is going to shift if you are waking up, going to a job, a job that you just absolutely hate. Let me tell you, I got a close girlfriend that she left a job. She was actually working at a mortgage company, making really good money. But she was like, I can't do this anymore. I hate the people I talk to. Some of those folks who are calling up to like the mortgage company, and most of the time they are the ones because they're having issues. They're not paying their mortgage bill. They got no money. They're flustered. They're anxious. They're a little depressed and they just want to take it out on them, the customer service reps, right? And so she hated that job. And now actually she's working at the Money Multiplier on the team. And yeah, she took a little bit of a pay cut working at the mortgage company compared to here, but she's so much happier. She's like, oh my gosh, I just did not know the stress and the draining energy that I was going through working at that other company to what I'm doing right now. You cannot put a price on the peace of mind. And I say too, I think that's very, very important as we get in here to 2025 is doing things that make you feel fulfilled, driven, and live a purpose-driven life. Shout out to Rick Warren in that book, Purpose Driven Life. Here's what Rick Warren says in that book. Life is like a marathon. It doesn't matter how you start. It only matters how you finish. This is the game of life. So it's not too late to start taking action. If you are sitting here watching me and you're 65 years old, 75 years old, y'all, it is not too late to make these changes in your life. Start in January. Start in December. Start when you're 50 years old. Start on a Friday at 5 p.m. But just get up and get started. Action is not going to change anything to your reality if you don't take the action with it. I says that a little backwards, but y'all get what I mean. If you don't put the action behind your thoughts, you are never going to get to the results and the reality that you are trying to get to. Because let me tell you, anybody can do this stuff. I mean, it seems really simple when I put it that way. And to be honest with you, it is. Myself, I started my first bank when I was 18 and became a millionaire by the time I was 24. And all I did is I mimicked and imitated what my mentors and the elite and wealthy people in my life have been doing for generations and decades. So I will keep you posted on how this next little segment goes. Reminder to y'all, we have our Tampa event coming up March 1st and 2nd. Florida, Tampa, Florida. Come out too. I think it would be really good for y'all to come and hang for the VIP day on the 28th. Very limited seating, only 30 tickets I have open for VIP day, where we're going to go out to one of Larry Steinhaus's mobile home parks. We got a party bus that I rented, and we're going to go have a nice steak dinner that night. And then we're going to be geared up and ready for the first and the second classroom styles, where I'm bringing out all of my top industry experts. If you want to know about HELOCs, RAL, residential assisted living, you want to know how to raise capital, you want to know how to get into investing or real estate or starting a business with zero money down. I mean, hey, ever heard of seller financing? Ever heard of subject to? Ever heard of lending? Yeah, y'all have heard of lending, but it's because I talk about it a lot. But I really am bringing out my people who are in that top expert field. So you need to be here and you need to really stay connected with like-minded people. I know we want to get comfortable sometimes, and I know we are still here in Q1 of 2025, but don't quit. I'm telling you, the small changes and actions that you make today are going to be huge by the time that you get to Q4 of 2025. So moneygamelive.com. I will see you in Tampa, and I will be back next week with another episode. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get notified every week when I come out live with another episode. And follow me on all of the social media channels just to keep up with my adventures. Hannah spelled the same ways forwards and backwards, Kessler with one S. And with that being said, make good choices today, y'all. I believe in you. You got the power to make the changes. And holler at me if you need me. I'll catch you next week. Bye, everybody.
There we go.
And with that said, we're joined this morning by author Hannah Kessler to learn how to track your income versus expenses to help you keep your money in your wallet. Hannah, good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and even more excited to talk about my favorite topic, money.
When she sat down, my first question to Hannah was, okay, how does it feel to be rich? And your response was?
Yep. Money doesn't buy happiness, but bad stewardship of money can steal happiness.
All right.
Okay, I feel like my happiness has been stolen a few times because it's one of those things, you have to learn it. You have to learn the discipline with money.
Yeah.
And you became a millionaire last year. Tell us about how that was made possible.
Yeah. Really what it comes down to is it starts with our mindset around our money. Mindset is the number one key, and how you think about your money is going to greatly impact how much money that you have. Because now once you start to master the mindset, the disciplines and the habits are just going to naturally follow. Different options of what you can do with the money and different opportunities are going to start to present themselves in your life.
Yeah. So Hannah, one key thing here though is to understand the budget. Tap on that a little bit.
Yes. Budget is number one. I would say that you need to understand what's going on. If you know what's going on, you'll know what to do. And I would say number one, start with the T-chart. T-chart of our income and our expenses, and know how much I'm keeping at the end of every month.
Okay, can you give us kind of like an example of what an ideal budget would look like? Because a lot of times it's like, okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what exactly we need to be saving, spending, all of that.
Yes, I would say now is definitely the time that it needs to start. If y'all want to stop living paycheck to paycheck in 2025, the time is now. And really, I suggest at least 10%. You need to be saving at least and keeping 10% of your wealth.
And some people, I mean, obviously you don't want to live outside of your means, but I think people at home might be looking and going, look, I don't have an option than to just live paycheck to paycheck.
I know. And that's where you got to have the honest conversations with yourself of, okay, do I need to make some changes, sell some items, maybe start a side hustle, get the second job, go through that time of uncomfortableness right now, because I'm telling you, it's going to pay off in the long run.
So understand your budget, but also pay yourself first. What does that mean?
Pay yourself first. Yep. When you get money that comes in, pay yourself first, because I know how you operate with your money. You get money that comes in, you pay everybody else first. The house people, the car people, Bobby's soccer practice, Susie's piano lessons, and you just hope and wait that there's some left over for you. And we got to stop that. Treat yourself as your number one asset, pay yourself first, and then go pay everybody else next.
Okay, when we say pay yourself first, how much of a percentage should we be paying ourselves?
I suggest at least 10%.
Okay.
All right, you have a $100 bill right there.
Yes. No, so I brought this because here's the thing. You know, people will go out and at the end of the week, they'll get paid.
Yeah.
And people think that this is money, but it's not. It's currency. In my opinion, it's worthless. It's worthless currency. And what the wealthy do
Was that a real $100 bill?
real $100 bill? And what the wealthy do.
Can we tape it back together and give it to me?
Christine, hand me the tape, please, if you don't mind. Why didn't? Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Yes, and so what we need to understand is that this is currency, and what the wealthy people do is they exchange the currency for something of value, like investments.
Oh my gosh, my heart's still beating after that.
We'll take half. The Single Millionaire Chick. You're an author. What is your book called?
Yeah, The Single Millionaire Chick.
Yeah, okay. Host of the Money Multiplier podcast.
Yes.
How else can people find you?
Yes, on Amazon, The Single Millionaire Chick, and yeah, my podcast, The Money Multiplier podcast.
Got rich at 24 and you're only 25 now.
Yes.
Whoa, oh my goodness, we're behind Ashley, come on.
I mean, I'll take a
We
50.
gotta get it together. All right, well, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate all of the tips, especially as we go into 2025.
This is so sad.
I know. Can we go to Target later?
That's my
Y'all
gas-
keep
that's
it,
gas
keep
money.
it.
No.
Just tape it back together.
I think somebody would take a taped $100 bill. Thank you so much.
Thank
All the
you so
information
much.
will be linked to the website, Good Day Sacramento.
That's right. Well,